Hello, hello, hello. When you hear that sound, you know it's time for Finix Sports right here on Boom Radio NG. My name, Cornelius. Yes. Sport fans around the world and around the globe. It's been a fascinating time of sports, and of course, for Nigerian fans, it wasn't such a beautiful one yesterday. As you saw, our home favorite, the Super Eagles, lose to Central African Republic. A lot of reactions as regards this loss from around the country. A lot of opinions, and yeah, not to worry, a lot of you sending messages out as regards that. I'll be reading your messages here on Finix Sports. We went to the game yesterday where the Super Eagles fouled out against the Central African Republic. It was a game of two halves, and of course a game that did not end in favor of Nigeria, as the Central African Republic beat Nigeria by a lone goal. A lot of people calling for the head of the coach already, talking about Coach Gennaro. And the question was it the fault of the coach? Was it the players that just didn't turn up? A lot of people have an opinion that it is. However, from the hierarchy itself, but I'll go on the facts and details about the game. Yesterday, the game started at about 5 p.m. Nigerian time. It saw a very, very low, below par first half. But the Super Eagles came out for with a little more energy in the second half. And players that they have a player rating here for you. And Francis Uzor was back in goal for the first time since his horrific injury at the World Cup in Russia, and he started the game, and the rating showed give him a 4. Uzor came to the Super Eagles rescue into the second half when the ball from a free kick was flighted into the 18-yard, and he found himself one-on-one against the CAR striker. He saved it. However, his rating for the entire game was a 4. Ola Aino, he had good interplay with Simon and Aribo in some stages of the games. Some long balls into Osime, but not the best of outings for Ola Aino as well. And he has a rating of 3.5 in that game. William Struss Ekong, for me, he was the skipper of the team. I think he started game very shaky, and he never seemed to get into the game. And of course, the error seemed to have come from his end. And this was not the best of game for Truss Williams Ekong. And of course, Jamilu Collins, his rating was a 4. His defensive awareness bailed Nigeria from conceding the first half as the visitor got the ball into the net. But of course, that he was the CAR striker was played offside. While Frank Oyeka making his debut for Nigeria wasn't the best. Frank Oyeka talking about the Brentford midfielder, he coming in to replace Wilfred Ndidi, who's injured for Leicester City. He didn't have the best of games, not the best of debuts, and quite frankly, I see it difficult him getting another call-up or getting to start another game for the Super Eagles, or even starting in the next game that will be played in Cameroon on Sunday. That's the return leg against the Central African Republic. While Joe Aribo was given a 3.5, he looked overwhelmed and overcrowded in the midfield. A game where you expected him to dominate. Perhaps the combination was not the best for him. Simon Moses was poor. He hardly put one ball into the box. Yes, he had his normal work rate, doubling back to help Ola Aino, when, he was needed. But overall, he had a poor game. Chidera AGK. Now, this was one player that seemed to excite. There were times he got the crowd, going, with some dribbles, he cutting, he has a beautiful left foot, he was cutting in, but his end product never seemed to work. It was more like the combination with him and Jamilu Collins was not the best. and it wasn't just working for any of the players yesterday. And Kelechi Iheanacho, yes, he was involved in a couple of build-up plays in the first half. He called one, tried to call one into the top corner before going down before going down injured, and there's fear that he may have suffered an injury. You never like to see players go down off the ball or without being challenged. We need to watch that space and see how that one plays out. Victor Osimhen, ever working hard. He was everywhere. You could see the hard work. He was running endlessly. He never stopped closing down. He actually hit the bar in the second half where it wasn't to be. Now, this loss obviously sent shockwaves all over the nation. There was a certain confidence that Nigeria will overwhelm their less ranked counterparts, but it wasn't to be, as Nigeria suffered a shocking, really shocking 1-0 loss at home. Now, a couple of comments have been coming through as to the thoughts on how this planned out, and I have one from Godwin here. He says people calling for the head of coach Gennett Raw. This is not a Gennett Raw problem. The problem has come from the top. It has to do with Mr. Finix and Mr. Deco. It's like trying to. Yes, he says sacking Raw is like treating the effect of a problem instead of the cause. What do you think? You can air your views, air your opinions. You can send me messages, and of course, I'll read them out on the show. Now, the Super Eagles will be playing the Central African Republic in the return leg, and that game will be played on Sunday out in Cameroon. The reason why this game is played in Cameroon is because it's due to COVID restrictions, and that's where the Central African Republics are having to play their home matches. Now, it is important that the Super Eagles win that game and, of course, win the next game to guarantee qualification to the next phase of the World Cup Qualifiers. Yes. And, of course, there were other games yesterday. Of course, the Nations League semi-finals where Belgium took on France. What a fascinating game that was. It was goals football on the at the highest order. This was a game that saw Belgium take a 2-goal lead and France come back to win that game by 3-2. Beautiful goals in that game. The goal scoring was opened by Carrasco. That's the Atletico Madrid winger. Beautiful interplay with Eden Hazard and, of course, Kevin De Bruyne. You understand, to put Belgium ahead in that one in the 37th minute. Of course, Lukaku doubled the lead. Lukaku doubled the lead, and of course in the 40th minute, slamming the ball home with a furious shot across at close range. Then came back. Then the comeback began with Benzema obviously scoring in 62 minutes with Mbappe providing the assist on that one, and of course a penalty kick which Mbappe converted in the 69th minute. And of course, Lukaku went on to score in the 87th minute just for VAR to rule that out for offside. And of course, Theo Hernandez sealing a dramatic, beautiful game with the winner in the 90th minute. Now, of course, Spain having defeated Italy. Italy suffered their first loss in 3 years. Will be fighting out against the French side in the finals of the European Nations League. Yes. And of course, in other news, down to Formula One, where Lewis Hamilton will be suffering a 10-grid penalty because of the installation of a new engine, even though he begged his Mercedes team not to do that because in order not to hand the advantage over to his rival and beat a rival. The race is hot for the Formula One Championship this season. Talking about Max Verstappen. Now, Max Verstappen had already suffered the same penalty in the last in the last race, and of course giving Lewis Hamilton a 2-point lead going into the next race. Now, obviously, after winning the Russian Grand Prix last time out in front of chief title rival Max Verstappen, the Brit heads into Istanbul with a narrow 2-point lead. Now, however, his Mercedes team has been forced into the engine change like I spoke about ahead of Sunday's race, taking him over the allocated of the three available. Over the three available for the season, this will be tight. This will be very, very tight. Advantage Verstappen, we'll wait and see on that note. Yes. It's beautiful football. And of course, the news coming out of England is that Newcastle obviously have a new owner. Finally, the Saudi Arabia group has bought Newcastle for over £300 million. Now they are 80% shareholders, and that ends the reign of former owner Mike Ashley, who had been at the helm for 14 years. Now, out there in Newcastle, there were fans jubilating on the streets, and of course, club legend Alan Shearer has come out to say that it's not. Former club legend Alan Shearer has come out to say that even though the fans rightfully so, they've come out to rejoice, they should also be willing to be patient and stay calm and allow the new leaders impose themselves on the club. Of course, there's expectation that present manager Steve Bruce will get the sack, but it is not sure when and how he will be sacked. Of course, there are a lot of games coming out. There are a lot of games to be played today, talking about World Cup qualifiers, and of course, all over the globe, the CAF, the CONCACAF, and of course the Europeans. Now, I'll give you a rundown on the World Cup qualifiers to look out for on the African continent, and that will be Malawi will be hosting the Ivory Coast, while Angola will host Gabon, Cameroon will host Mozambique, Algeria will be filing out against Niger, while Egypt will be hosting Libya. Now, the European team will see Cyprus host Croatia, while Czech Republic will play Wales. Estonia will be hosting Belarus, while Germany will be hosting Romania. Iceland will be at home to Armenia, while Latvia will be hosting the Netherlands. Now, of course, Liechtenstein will be hosting North Macedonia, while Malta will be hosting Slovenia. Slovakia will be away at Russia. That's a critical game for Russia. Russia really need to win that game to stand any chance of qualification. While the Turkish team, which seems to be they seem to be in some sort of problem at the moment. They can't seem to win any game. A team that was in form, obviously, before the European Games, but seems to have suffered some kind of psychological blow from the European Games, and that has continued because they can't seem to win a game. They will be hosting a very informed Norwegian side, and that these are tough clashes to look out for this today, ahead of a very, very packed actually international break. Now, like I said, if you'd like to be a part of the show, you can always send me messages, and of course I will relay your messages. And yes, I'll give you a lot more sneakings and pickings. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo's civil sexual assault case is recommended for dismissal by a Las Vegas court after accusation against the Manchester United star by one Catherine Mayorga, and that was in 2009. I don't know if you remember that story where Cristiano Ronaldo was accused of rape, and of course right now it is recommended by the court in Las Vegas that that case be thrown out. And of course for UFC fans, if you're looking forward to a huge fight this weekend, of course it doesn't get any better than Michael Chandler taking on the the punch king himself, talking about Justin Gaethje. Now, these are two people who can pack a punch. They are two beautiful punches, and it's a fascinating matchup. I personally think Justin Gaethje has the advantage. Now, Michael Chandler, who came into the UFC with all that hype, and of course, lost his last fight, and kind of like a shock, because a lot of people expected a lot from him. He got knocked out, yes, and lost the title. Talking about the lightweight title, and of course he'll be fighting against Justin Gaethje in what is built to be a clash of the punches. Interesting bout there, and of course we're looking forward to it. It may be some good news for Barcelona. Finally, Sergio Aguero has finally returned to training, and he's in line to make his debut at the Clásico against bitter rivals Real Madrid. Now, of course, it's not been the best of starts for Barcelona, considering the financial crisis they've been through, considering the fact that they had lost their legend, talking about one of the best players, if not the best player to ever grace football ever. And of course, it's been shambolic for Coach Ronald Koeman, who we understand still has the backing of the Catalan authorities over there at the Catalan club, Barcelona. Now, this is an interesting one. Now, Sergio Aguero, who we initially understand wasn't happy with Lionel Messi leaving the club. Interesting to see how he embraces the club and plays for the club. And a little bit of good news for Barcelona still on the horizon, because as we understand, a couple of key players will be coming back for them as well. So interesting to see how that impacts the team generally. Now, the Spanish papers have gone out to say France is scary. Yes, of course, we know how fascinating the French team is. When you look at the players' individual talents all over the pitch, of course, they can be scary. But, the Spanish papers have also gone on to say they know they are very beatable. And, of course, they've shown they are beatable. Obviously, they went into the Euro finals as favorites to win it. And, of course, we know how that ended. They were beaten by a determined Switzerland side. So the Spanish side say they don't see any reason why they can't beat this French side. And, of course, the Spanish side beginning to make their own. Now, of course, I'm talking about battles everywhere. Deontay Wilder, and of course Tyson Fury. This one has been building up for a long time. It is a trilogy between these two, and interesting to see who takes this one. Of course, there's been a weighing already, and of course, the Gypsy King already playing his antics and things like that. A couple of people even suggested that the way the face-off shouldn't have happened and things like that, but of course the face-off has happened, and of course the bout is going to continue. And interesting to see the Gypsy King's dad has been in the news, speculating and saying, predicting obviously a straight knockout for his son against the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder. Interesting to see how that one plans out. One we are really looking forward to. Fascinating in it. Yes, it is. Yes, we gradually come to the end of the show, and of course, always remember, it's Finix Sports. We come your way Mondays, 10 minutes past 12 Mondays, and Fridays, where we'll bring you the best of best sport updates from around the world. I remain yours, faithfully, and truly, as always, I'm Cornelius. And like some people call me, Aguda FC. Do have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.